Hey there, welcome to my very first little draw with me video. Today we're going to be making this very cute little bear illustration. I'm working on Procreate on my iPad. This is an older iPad. I kind of need a new one, but that's okay. With my Apple Pencil. The first thing that I'm doing here is just looking for a reference photo for the baby bear. So I hopped onto Pinterest and I found this really cute one from a National Geographic article. So took it over into Procreate and inserted it into my artwork, and then I'm just going to make it the right size and crop the little bear that I wanted to use as a pose reference mostly. The brush that I'm using for this picture is one that I've been using pretty frequently lately, and I'm someone who likes to just pick one brush and use it through a whole piece. I don't usually mix up that much unless I'm doing line art, which I don't typically do in my art style. But anyways, the one I'm using is the oil pastel brush. It's under the pencil tab, and it's one that comes with Procreate, so it's not one I bought special. I started using it because I was doing a lot of oil pastel work on traditional medium, like in real life on paper, and I was really happy with the result. The problem that I had, like the mediums are really fun, so I was enjoying using it. But the problem was that, first of all, I couldn't layer without getting the oil pastels really dirty, and I totally get that's how the medium works, but it just was kind of bothering me. And also, I don't have a huge range of colors, so I like to do pictures that have a lot of blended tones, and I didn't have, like, for example, when I'm doing little animals, which is kind of a subject matter I do a lot of them are brown, so I need a lot of shades of brown, and I don't have that in my pastels. So instead, I tried doing it on my iPad, and I'm really happy with how the pastel brush works on Procreate. It adds a lot of really interesting texture, and I don't even use a textured canvas or anything on Procreate. I'm just using a plain background, but I almost always set the background to yellow because I like my pastel drawings to be warmer in tone, and I used to do a lot more stylistically, like I would leave gaps between the different subject matters so the background would show through, and I still do that if I'm doing more of an abstract piece or something that's like flower bouquet or I don't know, something like that. But for these little critters where I'm doing a background as well as the foreground and the character, I'm not leaving gaps around the sides, so I am like blending the pastels technically. This is also my first attempt at filming a little draw with me video, so I can definitely see where I have to do some improvements. For example, I set my camera, I did a DIY tripod with some duct tape and a little shelf, and I put it on the same table that I was drawing on, so when I sped up the video, I just times it by 2. I saw there's a lot of vibration when I'm doing coloring, like in this scene here, so that's something to know for next time. Don't put your camera on the same surface as your iPad. And also, I tried to be really good about not putting my hand over the drawing while I was working on a section, just to not to block it, but it is a little hard when the camera's filming overhead and I am not overhead to see it too. So just little things I'm going to try and get better at because it was really fun filming this, and I also wanted to challenge myself not to do a piece that was really huge. I don't mean in terms of the size of the canvas, but typically I'll do like a really complicated background, or they're not complicated, they're just like a forest scene or a landscape, but I'll do like a lot of flowers and trees and greenery, and it takes a lot longer to do. And I wanted to try and make this a simpler one subject kind of little piece. So I'm very happy with how it turned out in that regard. Now I sell these art prints at a weekly market. That's one of the things I do. I also have an online store, but mostly I'm just preparing art pieces for my market every week. And this is one, when it finished, I'm not sure if I'm gonna print it as like a wall art print. It might be a good greeting card print. I'm not really sure yet, just because I didn't really fill out full 8x10 canvas. There was some space on the top and bottom. It's almost more, I almost drew more on like a square size. So I'm not sure how I'm going to use this illustration yet, but I really like how it turned out. And I have another print that is a full-grown bear sitting in a meadow, so I'm wondering if maybe I can make a little print set with the baby bear and the big bear. I don't know. I'm gonna think about it. So I think I'm gonna stop my voiceover here and just let you hang out and watch me finish this drawing, but I will hop back on and talk a little bit more about it when it's a bit closer to being finished and just explain maybe some of my style choices. I don't know, or I'll just tell you how cute I think it is. That is also a good option. All right, enjoy. So at this point, I think my baby bear is starting to look pretty cute. I hope you think so too. Unfortunately, as you probably saw, my camera did stop recording for a little bit, just to the part where I finished the bear and switched over to drawing the grass around him. So I just, it wasn't too many steps, it was just filling in a green blob under him for the grass. So a lot of my illustrations right now have a very similar texture or series of illustrations to make up the meadow space, because I've been doing a lot of wilderness paintings, for paintings. But I think this one worked pretty well. I often will do the colored flowers, but I just went with white ones, and I think also maybe some yellow ones on this, just to keep the tones a little bit similar. I usually add pink or orange flowers, but I didn't, and I think it turned out pretty cute. Now there's actually one thing that I didn't do in this video that I often do, and I may decide to, now that I've done this piece, is to finish up by adding a layer on the very top, setting it to multiply and picking a light gray shade, and then just adding in some shadows. It really makes a really big difference with these kinds of pieces, especially with the pastels, because the gray, I think, just translates well in terms of darkening up the other colors in multiply mode. And then I will play with the opacity of that layer just to make sure it's not too sharp, because I still keep using the oil pastel brush, which does add that extra texture in, which usually is okay, but if it does look a little too textured or makes the shadows look a little too obvious, I'll then go into the Gaussian blur and just do like a 4% blur, and that makes the harsh lines of the shadows go away. But I haven't done it in this video, so hopefully in the next one I will add in that extra step at the end just to show you what it looks like. But you know, sometimes it's nice to do an illustration that is more flat without a lot of shadows, because it can look a little bit more picture book style, which is kind of adjacent to the style I like to do. And here I'm just adding in a little background to round out this picture, a little bit of a light blue sky, and then going back in with a white to make the center pop. And that's basically it. That's my little baby bear. I hope you like him, and I'll just show you a close-up of what it looks like exported, so you can see all the beautiful texture that gets added in with that brush. It's not too perfect, but I think it looks adorable.